Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Local Joe. Tuning in today for the Local Joe Show, episode number 3. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Had a little bit of hiccup today, so I had a guest plan, but unfortunately they were unable to make it. So I'm going to kind of wing it today and just give. Normally, when I won't have a guest, what I'd like to do is do my best practices. So because I wasn't planning for this and I didn't really have anything laid out, I am going to kind of go over some of my something I think that is a great practice for any agent. So we'll get to that in a minute. But we'll start off today with the local news. So let's see, what do we got? We got March 6th coming up. So as you know, I'm Local Joe Farmington Hills, so I care a lot about Farmington Hills. This week or that week, we have the State of the City address coming up. So they've got a kind of big event planned. It goes from actually 4:30 till 9 o'clock at night. Um, the actual State of the Cities is only from 7 till 9, but prior to that, they have from 4:30 till 6:30 a business expo, and then from 5 until 6:30 they have the VIP reception, and then they have music from some of the Farmington bands and music groups from 6:30 till 7. So if you're interested in Farmington Hills, you're a business that wants to meet other business people, definitely head over and check that out. Then we got the Z Boot Camp coming up. So that is February 25th till 27th. So that's this week at Dynagen Lending. So you can DM me or contact Z Real Estate to find out how to register for that. One other thing we got this week is the free car seat inspection. Actually, it's not this week, it's on 3/8. So that is from 8 till 12 p.m. And you have to register for that. You register at FD events at fhgov.com. That's, I believe it's fire department events. So FD events at fhgov.com. So yeah, you have to register for that, and they'll help you get your seat inspected, make sure it's installed properly, so everybody's got their kids safe in their car. Uh, the one great thing I wanted to say was congratulations to well, we have a couple congratulations. The Farmington United gymnastics team just won the conference and league championship. So congratulations to those guys. Great job. And then we had another great victory this week from the U.S. Women's Gold. They won gold. Excuse me. They won gold over Canada in a 2-1 overtime victory. So that was great. But what made it most great for us people that live in Farmington is the person that won the winning goal, Megan Keller, was actually from Farmington and was a North Farmington graduate. So great job, guys. We're really proud of you, and just really excited for everything going on in the Olympics, and especially the hockey team, which obviously you guys know I'm into hockey. So speaking of hockey, I guess we might as well just jump into that. This week, we had our third playoff game, so it was great. We were actually winning. We came down to there was like I think a minute and a half left, and we were up 3-2, and they pulled their goalie. So we were holding them off. Everything was going good. 23 seconds left. They tied it up. So unfortunately, we don't have any type of overtime or anything like that with these games. So it ended at a tie, which kind of sucked. But at the same time, it wasn't a loss. So yeah, that's that. And that puts us in second place in the playoffs at this point. So that's pretty exciting. And this week, tomorrow, actually, I have a game, and it's kind of fun because the guy that got me into the league, John, who was one of the guys that I was able to beat the week before I told you about, who I play with on other days of the week at other games. But he's going to be joining us as a sub on our team, so that's exciting. I like playing with John. He's a great player, and we get along good and stuff, so that's great. What else happened this week? So let's talk a little bit about CapCut. So that was one of the things I'm learning as I'm doing this podcast, was how to do the video editing and some of that stuff that I'm not real familiar with, and so it's a learning curve for me. So this week I used CapCut to edit my podcast from last week. You may have noticed when I did the podcast last week, I had two different settings, one here, and then I filmed part of it at another place, another location in the office here. And then I had to edit it all together and do some transitions and things like that. So I hadn't worked with transitions much, so that was kind of interesting. It's something I just had to learn how to do. And I'm not that great at it, to be honest, yet, but I am learning, and we're getting there. So just keep learning, you just keep trying. So it's exciting for me to learn new things. I like it. Um, One of the big things that's been kind of really taken over the web lately, some of the web I'm in part of at least, maybe you guys haven't even heard of it, but it's called Claude Claw. Claude Claw. So they actually changed the name because there were some trademark problems or whatever trademark I think it was with Claude, which is one of the LLMs. They now call it OpenClaw. So what this is that you can run it on your computer system, and it actually gives the AI complete access, 100% control over your computer. Anything that you could do on your computer, it can do on your computer. Um, there is some huge security risk and some other things that we're not even sure what's going to happen and how it's all going to work because it's all new and people don't, when it's taking over your computer and you're not sure what it's going to do, weird things can happen. So some of those security issues are kind of being taken care of, and people are pointing out all the security flaws and how you got to be careful with this. But it is definitely a powerful tool if you use it right. I've heard of some people. I listened to the All In podcast, and some of the guys on there said one of the guys actually said he has 4 different computers set up running 4 different tests. So what a lot of people are using it for is to do like administrative tasks and things like that. So the first one I saw for it, the guy had set it up. He bought his own little Mac Mini. He gave the AI its own user account for his for like a Gmail account and that type of thing. Then he gave it access to whatever files and stuff he wanted, and he started giving it tasks to do. One of the tasks it was doing was when he would wake up in the morning, it would tell the guy what all his tasks were for the day, but it would also tell him what it was working on, the AI was working on overnight, and then suggest some tasks that the AI might do for the day the next day. And so it was just great. It was getting tons of stuff done and very efficient, and you know, but like I said, you have to be careful with it. So yeah, you might want to check into that. It's kind of cool, and people are really into it. The one I saw was kind of interesting because the AI called the guy that set up the computer on his cell phone. He didn't tell him to do it. The AI just called and said hi. So I'm not sure if that was kind of like a fake video someone made up or if it really did that. But those are the kind of unexpected things that at this point we just don't know what the AI is going to do just because it's new and it's trying different things. So yeah, that was kind of interesting and something I think everybody should kind of check out. So one of the other things I saw this week, or I've been reading the same books. I finished the 50 Cent book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. So I found it really interesting. 50 Cent is a little more deep than I thought he was. So I thought that was pretty cool. You kind of think of him as like a hot-headed, tough guy that does whatever, but he's actually very, at least in the book, and now that he's had time to reflect, at least, maybe it wasn't this way when this stuff was actually happening. But he made it seem as though he was very thoughtful and very intentional about what he does. So that was kind of surprising to me. He's very, very smart business person, and he's actually very level-headed. And I'm not sure how he got that way, but it's pretty impressive, and he's definitely inspirational. So, what else? My First Million. That's one of my favorite podcasts. I listen to that a lot. I listened to that this week. Listen to Sam talking about his mother-in-law who started her own pillow business, and she's doing over $1 million a year now making pillows. So that was kind of interesting. And then Diary of a CEO. That's probably my other favorite podcast. The one I listened to this week was Monk talking about mindset and different things. So I always love Stephen Bartlett. He's the host of that podcast. He talks a lot about mental health and health in general. One of the things I've been working on lately is reducing sugar in my diet. So I'm trying to get all carbs out altogether, but it's very hard to do. Just getting sugar out of your diet's hard. Getting all the carbs out is even harder. But I continually try to just do it. And to me, sugar is the cause of all disease basically and the root of all evil. So if you can cut sugar out of your diet, go ahead and do that. I suggest. I've had a lot of good luck with it. Um, I was able to actually about 2 weeks ago get rid of all my blood pressure medicine that I was on. I'd been slowly taking it down over time, and I had tried previously to get off of it, but wasn't able to make that final step to get off. I still had to use a little, and because when I tried it, it went back up. But now that I've been off sugar or limiting my sugar for the last 6 months, I've been able to slowly get it down. I do a lot of exercise. I play hockey 3 days a week, so that does help. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. My next one is cholesterol, so I'm on cholesterol medicine as well, and that is the next goal, is to get off of that, and then I will be completely off of all pharmaceuticals. So that's exciting to me. Um, Back to the gym. So I try, every day, every week, I try to hit the gym 3 days a week. On my off days when I'm not playing hockey, I wasn't able to do it this week. I actually might just, I got it. Maybe I need to reset my thing. I think 2 days a week is probably what I'm going to be able to do at the gym, mostly just because of my schedule. That normally I go to the gym in the morning, but on Thursdays I've been doing something special, coming into the office early to try to work on agent traction. So that's why I haven't been going to the gym on Thursdays. Once I get in the office, I pretty much just stay here all day. So that kind of takes away from the gym. I guess I could probably try a little harder to maybe make it in the afternoon, but a lot of times I have other things to do in the afternoon. That's where I try to set most of my appointments. So at this point, if I'm making it 5 days a week doing exercise, I feel like I'm still doing okay. So I'm not going to push myself too much there. So this week, I talked last week about making calls. So that's what I continue to do this week. I got a few numbers here. I called 112 different people this week. I connected with 34 of them. 23 of those people I had conversations with. And that turned into, I picked up one new listing for sure. I also got 3 new buyers this week. And this is obviously from work I did previously, but I have 2 closings next week, so that's exciting. Unfortunately, they're both at the same day. Or not unfortunately, I guess it's fine, but they were going to both be at the same time, which was going to be difficult. But now they're half hour apart, so should be no problem. And then I also continued nurturing my sphere. So that was the other thing I was going to kind of go back to, was trying to work on my sphere a little bit. And I was able to actually make some progress there as well. There's 2 gentlemen that I spoke with this week that both have condos that are going to probably be ready in the next week or 2. One was 2 weeks, and he's going to be ready to sell, and he said he'd be listing with me. And then the other one is a friend of mine that I play hockey with. He's cleaning out his brother's condo in Northville, and he as well said he would be willing to list with me. So that's exciting. And yeah, so that's that. So I guess we'll go into, that's kind of a perfect segue actually into what I was going to talk about a little bit today. So the one thing that I think is the most important thing, and me and Chad kind of talked about it last week, and I think it's the one place where a lot of agents fall off, because you're on your own and you're pretty much your own boss, and unless somebody's pushing you're pushing yourself, or you're blocking time, sometimes it's hard to maintain prospecting all the time. So that's what I kind of want to talk about, is prospecting. How are you time blocking? I think that's probably the thing that has made me most efficient and most productive since I've started. Was when I first started here, Kurt went over a great demonstration. He talks about time blocking and how to set yourself up to be successful. And and like I said, we did some coaching with Austin Chevron, and he said the same thing. Basically, they all say the same thing. If you block time to prospect, you have to block time to prospect. Otherwise, you just end up working on your business, in your business all the time, and you never end up working on it, and making sure that you have that money coming in later, filling that pipeline up. So, you're running around all the time sometimes as an agent, and sometimes it's hard to, because you're working on the deal that you're working on right now, and you forget that when that deal's done, you have to have another deal coming down the pipeline already, especially in real estate, where sometimes it's at least a month, right? Sometimes 2-3 months from the time you meet somebody, even longer actually. But from the time you meet somebody to the time the deal closes. So it's a long game, and you definitely have to be on your game in order to make sure you keep your pipeline filled. So I guess I was going to go over a little bit about how I do that. So the way I do it is I actually every day, if you look at my calendar, um, I wake up in the morning. I get my coaching call in first. So from 7:30 to 8:30 every day, we have a coaching call. All agents are welcome. So if you guys would like to be part of this coaching call, feel free to DM me, and I'd be happy to give you the number. You just basically call in every morning, and you don't have to say anything. You can just sit and listen. But it's a great resource. We do a lot of role playing. There's agents from all over the country on there. They're all EXP, or they're not all EXP agents. You don't have to be an EXP agent to do it. We do have a collaboration group that we do on Whatnot, where you do have to be part of EXP to join that. But we allow all agents to just call in and listen to the training or participate. So it's great. So because you really get a lot of different opinions. Sometimes you'll get one person. So what happens a lot of times is agents will be like, "Here's the problem I'm dealing with right now. I talked to this person and they did this, and I'm not sure how to handle it." And so, you know, as agents, we all are different, and we all have our different ways of approaching different people. So it's great just listening to the different angles that people come at from about a certain problem. One person may have a way of doing it this way, and another person does it this way. So that's why I really like it. You really get a varied opinion of how to do things, and there is no right way to do things. The right way is the way that you do it, typically. And so yeah, that's great. So that's what I start my day out with every day. Now, for me, I like to do a lot of people like to do the prospecting first thing in the morning and get that kind of out of the way. I'm actually a little bit of the opposite. I like to do my coaching in the morning. Then I kind of do my stuff that I like to do. So I go to the gym, and then I eat and I do my education where I get to learn in the morning. And then I usually start around 12:30 is when I start doing my prospecting. And then I do that for about 2.5 hours. And then in the late afternoon, typically I have this all time blocked in my calendar. I could go in detail, but basically what I do is about 2.5 hours. And then in the afternoon, late afternoon, is when I do my follow up on previous stuff that I had worked on or people I had talked to during the week previously. And then in the late afternoon or early evening is when I try to set my appointments and do my buyer consultations and showings and things like that. So that's how I got my day set up. I do that Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, I still do a little bit of prospecting on Friday. I do have that set up, but in the morning, I've set it up so I can do some social media. And I've actually, I haven't updated my calendar yet, but now that I've been doing this on Saturday mornings, I actually have turned Friday morning into more prospecting. So that's what I did yesterday. I came in early, did a bunch of prospecting. So, and then, like I said, on Thursday, I've also been coming in early and doing agent attraction. So, definitely having the time blocking in just makes it so much easier to stay on track. And then, once you start doing things for a week or two, you build that habit. You don't even really, I barely look at my calendar now. I just know what I'm supposed to be doing all the time. So, Kurt has a great demonstration he does, just showing you how to get to 400,000 a year, right, as an agent. And then he kind of goes through the numbers. If you go do the prospecting daily, even if you're really crappy at converting and you only, he goes through the numbers, but basically, even if you're really crappy, if you come in here every day, you get your calls in, you get your outreach, you connect with a few people, you set a few appointments, you close a few of those leads, you still can end up making over 100 grand a year as long as you can do that all the time and keep that pipeline full. So that is the inspiration for me to just keep doing it, and it seems to be working. So I'm trying to get 2 closings a month was my goal for the year. And so far, I did have 2 in January, and I have 2 just at the very end of February here. So I'm just making it. I'm getting a little nervous because I don't have any. I do have some stuff coming down the pipeline, but I'm not sure if I have anything that's going to close in March. So I am kind of hoping that something comes through here quickly, but we are ramping up. I know this week, I got quite a few calls and connections that it seemed like it really picked up. It warmed up here for over the weekend and last weekend, and it seemed like everybody was just like going crazy, wanting to go see houses and things like that. So definitely the weather was starting to break here. Now it got a little colder again, but you can definitely tell spring's coming and things are about to pick up. So excited to getting ready for that. Um, I guess that's kind of all I'm going to talk about today as far as that. I didn't have, like I said, I had another whole event plan, so I apologize for being a little bit ill prepared this week. But I think time blocking and making sure that you structure yourself is one of the things you can do to make sure that you're really efficient and make sure that you're staying productive. Um, like I said, if you don't have deals coming down the line in real estate, you're in trouble. It's a long game, and you definitely, you're going to be a month or two behind if you're starting over after every deal instead of keeping the pipeline filling as you're completing your other deals as well. Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to move on to today is agent attraction. What is one thing you could do this week to try to attract more agents? So one of the things I've been doing is going on Instagram, and this is not only just for agent attraction, but also for customer attraction, I guess, is following people on Instagram. So just making myself known. Sometimes I'll just in the evening I'll take an hour and I'll just sit there and specifically go through and follow people on Instagram. My philosophy is one time sometimes I'll just do like Farmington. I'll just look up every business in Farmington and start following them. And then sometimes I'll go into the comments of things and follow people that are following the businesses in Farmington. So that's a pretty good way to get some new customers and just get your name recognition out there and stuff. As far as attracting other agents, so I do the same thing with agents. So whenever I see like, a high production agent, EXP puts out things like top producers in Michigan for this month or whatever. I always make sure I go and check those agents out, see what they're up to, how they're doing it, and then I also follow them on Instagram. So I'm not sure. Just getting my name out there. One of the things, whenever I look at somebody and I see, oh, so and so follows them too, I want to be the one that everybody else sees that is following this person too. I'm paying attention. I'm current in the industry. I know who the top players are. I'm part of the game, So uh, to me, that's important. One of the other things you can do is other agents from deals you're doing. So make sure you follow them on Instagram as well. And then on events, any events you go to, make sure you're just following everybody that you meet basically on Instagram. So that is my one tip for this week. Use Instagram to get your name out there and to get to know other people. Let's see. So Local Joe to go this week. So my final thoughts to help you through the week. So it was interesting this week on our coaching call. There was an agent, and she had said that she had a client, and they had listed the house for her. And the house did sell, but it took longer than they thought, and there was some price reductions and things like that. And she, in her mind, thought that this person had a bad view of her services. And they parted ways or whatever. They did the deal. Everything seemed okay, but she just in her back of her head, the agent felt like the client really didn't wasn't happy or didn't think that she got top-notch service. The interesting thing was so it had been 5 months since they sold the house. Now the lady wanted to move out of this house, which is interesting by itself, but she called this agent and said, "Hey, I want you to sell my house." And she said, "The reason why is because I really trust you." So it was just interesting to me. And this agent was a little bit shocked that this person had called and said that. And she is helping her now, which is great. But it just goes to show you that you just never know what people are thinking. So my thought to go is, number one, you don't ever know what people are thinking. In this case, we got to see that that wasn't what they were thinking at all. So in this case, she was actually wrong. And sometimes you may be right. Maybe they didn't have the best experience, but in our minds, a lot of times we kind of blow it out of proportion or we just make things worse than they are. So my advice, especially when you don't know. So we don't know what people are thinking, right? So if we can think in our head any thought we want about what they were thinking, we might, and I don't want you to think being delusional is okay or whatever, but at the same time, we don't know what they're thinking. So if you're going to just make up something in your head, because that's what you're basically doing, you're making up what you think, how they feel about you might as well make it something good. If you're going to make something up, make it the best thing you can. And, sometimes maybe it's not true, but maybe it is. And that's the whole point. You don't know. So since you don't know, why not make it the best thing that you can? So that's kind of where I'm going today with this reality thing is just you don't know what they're thinking. So think the best thing that you could possibly think. Don't think the worst thing, which is what we often do. And, I know it's hard sometimes get in our own head about what people are thinking. And, you have lots of past experiences that may be influencing the way you think. But I suggest that you just try to overcome all that and remember that it's your reality you're creating and you can think anything you want. And honestly, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. And, what is truth, anyways? We all have our own truth and we all have different reasons why we think different things. So, for me, I growing up, I always thought, there was kind of like only one truth. And the older I get, I realize it's just so not true. And there's so many different truths, right? And everybody, even my own truth, when I think back to past things, something I may have thought happened for one reason a certain time when it happened. Maybe years later, you find out that wasn't at all why it happened. So that's always interesting to me, especially the past, right? Because it's like you have your idea of why something happened in the past. Maybe you find out later that that wasn't why it happened. It happened for another reason. So did the past just change, or did it change in your head for sure, right? Because you had one idea about what happened, and now you have a different idea. So the past just changed, but the past didn't really change, did it? So that's what I mean. It's kind of a reality mind f, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's really interesting, and the fact that once I realized that that was true, and that we can just kind of create, you're constantly creating your own reality. So just create a great one. That's my advice to you. Just you have the power to create a great reality. Create the greatest one you can. Don't hold yourself back. Don't think those bad thoughts. Don't have that negative self-talk. You're a great person. You're doing great things, and you have great intentions, and that's important. And so I think that's the kind of what you should focus on. So that's about it for this week, you guys. I apologize again for not being prepared as much as I could. So I don't want to say it's out of my control because that would just be a cop out because I should have been prepared for a backup. But I did have something planned and it kind of fell through. So again, I apologize, and we will be back live next week with a new guest. And I hope to see you then. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.